So the 120K that we collect as the firm, we would collect the 120K. Everyone's like, oh, you're going out partying, buying a new yacht. No. All right, guys, in this video, we're going to talk about how to price architectural projects. Let's do it. How to price proyectos. Proyectos is S, right? Proyectos? Proyectos. All right, proyectos. All right, so how to price projects, right? So number one, we got to figure out what we are pricing the project out. This is a lesson for all you guys too. Y'all get a lesson. There you go. So we're gonna see. Let's take a house, right? All right, how to price a house. This is how I price things out. Number one, we're gonna tell the client one number. So we're gonna figure out a number. We'll get there in a second. So realistically, you have the architect. You have civil engineer, civil, landscape, structural engineer, excuse my handwriting, MEP, anything else, interior designers by owner. How do you price this out, right? So first of all, you're gonna take the house is gonna be on a site, right? So you're gonna take that site and go to this, like we call Justin or we call the engineer, hey, how much does it cost? So he's gonna say, I don't know, 10K. Civil engineer is gonna be 10K. And you call the landscape architect, say, how much is it gonna cost for landscaping? We're doing white glove service or high end. So you get a number of 10K, right? Give or take. Then, how big is the house? Is the house 1 story? Is the house 2 story? Is it modern? Or is it traditional? These play into the structural and MEP. Kind of like they all bounce off one another, right? So then you get a number from the structural engineer, what you think is gonna happen, right? Let's say structural is 25,000. Then MEP is based off the square footage typically, your bathrooms. Got 3K, 4K, who keeps calling me? Call them later. 3K, 4, whatever the square footage is, right? So you get a number of 25K. Okay? Makes sense, right? 25, 25, 10, 10, 10. What does that equal? I can't do the math.
70.
70. Yeah. Damn. Architect. Okay. Now, who's doing the work? Who's actually doing, like, how, this is where the fun part is. Because architect is kind of broad, right? So, for example, for this company, I got to pay for the building. You got to pay for this. You got to pay for them. Everybody's getting paid. You as the architect, you get paid last, right? So the architect then, so you take, okay, 70K roughly, give or take. So we're going to estimate how many hours. So you're going to take the number of hours you think of hours. You're going to take your overhead cost, insurance, software, liability, all that stuff. So you have number of hours called overhead, right? So number of hours, let's say it takes X amount of hours. You take your liability and all that fun stuff, and then you're gonna put a number of like whatever. Usually it's a multiple. It's actually not a number, it's actually a multiple, right? So you have your cost, like how much it costs for your time. You take your cost with your number of hours, you come up with a number of X. Then you take your overhead multiple, and it's usually like 1.5 to 3%. So let's just say for conversations 2% or 2x multiple. So you're gonna take your X number, you're gonna do 2x, well, your X number. It equals, just for conversation purposes, let's say it comes out to 30K. So this 30K, I'm talking at a glance now, should cover your cost for you to do the work, including the number of hours, this is kind of as one, and your overhead. Okay? 30K. Then, profit, which is kind of tied into the overhead as well. So you got 30K covers my cost, covers my overhead. Then you got to add profit in there. Profit, which is then a percentage, 10, 20, 30%. That's kind of the gamble of my life. I'm a professional gambler at heart. Sometimes it's 50. Sometimes it's 5. Sometimes it's -5 when you screw up. This is how you price the projects out, or how I price projects out overall. So you got architect, civil engineer, landscape, structural, MEP. So you're going to pay out 70K, you're going to pay 30K, and then whatever on top of that, let's just say another 20K, right? Because I want to make 20K. So you got 70 is 100, so you're 120K. What's 20K on 120K?
Oh, sorry, how much?
Like 120K is like 15%?
Yeah.
15%? That's 15% profit margin. You got to get the client to agree to 120K.
For a new construction.
We're just, yeah, I don't know how big the house is. I'm just saying like in general. So the 120K that we collect as the firm, we would collect the 120K. Everyone's like, oh, you're going out partying, buying a new yacht. No, I wish. The 120K's got to pay this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, the overhead, and the cost of the hours. Then whatever is left is your profit. The last. I get paid last.
Wow, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Really? Oh, you thought I was just partying all day?
No, actually,
You thought I was at yoga, huh?
your class.
This is how you price. So this is how the game works. So this is the bet. Like you're gambling. You're basically gambling on the project. And what answers some of these questions is like how did work happen in the past? That's why it's important to track hours. It's important to have how much. So like that's why it's important to know how many hours a house of similar scope took. And it's also important to know your overhead numbers, OH. So you know, okay, we pay monthly for the subscription, monthly for the lights, monthly for the rent. You know overhead costs and number of hours. That can help you figure out what's going to take this number. Make sense?
Yeah.
So now what happens when you guess 120 and hours and these things all change? Then what do? You lose money. So
Yeah,
you don't win every, like you try to win. I mean, obviously you want to win, but like this profit margin. That's why it's like imagine a cup of water. There's your cup. You fill up the cup of water. Then as the project goes, it goes down, and then whatever is left is like what you get. This is your profit.
Yep.
So when I send a big bill to a client, they're like, "Oh, this is crazy." It's like, well, I have to pay this guy, 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 and it's like, I get this little left, and the most liability. And you see why the stress kicks in, boy.
I'm stressed already.
I'm stressed right now just talking about it. I love it. This is how you price a project from start to finish, including the architect, civil, landscape. Obviously, renderings and overhead and all that stuff. Kind of renderings pick into. You can do renderings, renders, and then what about changes? Changes, take that out. Overall, this is your cup of water. Cup. That is how you price a project. Isn't this fun, guys?
Muy divertido.
You didn't know that for real?
No.
How do you think prices projects? How do you think we price projects?
No, to be honest, I've never been involved in that.
Well, now you know.
I know you're not partying all the time.
I'm not partying. This is why this stuff matters to us. How to price projects.